Hey everybody, welcome to Opposing the Matrix, where nobody ever walks away disappointed. So, well, look at this. I've got pictures, I've got videos of me staring at me. Okay, that is live, what I'm doing right here. That is Telegram, that's Facebook. Anyway, again, welcome to Opposing the Matrix. My name is Dave, if you've never been here before. I've been doing this since 2010, so it's been quite a while, and let's move on here. Okay, it is the, the 28th of October, 2025, and it's like 7:01 in the evening here. Got a little bit of like a 1 minute late start. I'll try to do better tomorrow, or on Thursday, so... Man, this world never ceases to amaze me, folks. Some of the things that go on in this world just, they leave me speechless. And if you knew who I was, me speechless is something that, no, it just doesn't happen. So, but the things that politicians are doing, the things that normal people are doing, the things that the elites are doing, and this stupid comet that's flying by, and God knows what that is. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday, okay? So, come back on Thursday because it is so complicated and convoluted that it's going to take a lot of research to explain it. So, anyway, so as you know, this show originates in Oregon. It used to originate in California way back when, but now we're in Oregon, or have been for the last 12 or 13 years. No, we're like 14 years, I think. Anyway, so we, okay, a little loud. Sorry if I blew your eardrums out. So with things going on the way they are, and events spiraling, and I mean, if picture yourself or anybody else in a free fall, spinning around with a vortex underneath you, that's kind of what when you wake up every morning, it's kind of what you expect anymore. It's like, okay, who got arrested today? Okay, it's who's riding and where are they riding? And it's just amazing. And I feel for our president because he's got a lot on his mind. He's got a lot to do. And anyway, let's move on from that subject. So, let's see here. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, tonight we're live. We're live on Twitch. We're live on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, Trovo, BitChute, Telegram, and Facebook. So, the Facebook one's a little dicey because some of my relatives watch it, and it's... if you've ever been in any kind of spotlight, so to speak, and you have your relatives there, it's 100 times worse. But it doesn't mean you're supposed to leave. If you're watching, stay, okay? But it just it's more difficult because I think your relatives hold you up to a higher standard. So, okay. So I want to look tonight at an organization, a very able and capable organization. That at this time is up in Portland creating havoc, but I think they're also in Memphis and Chicago and a few other places too. And this thing is called, oh, it's funny how you study something all day and then you forget when you, Anti Fascist, okay, ANTIFA. And the funny thing is that the way they're acting just like fascists did, during the Second World War, especially in Italy and Germany. You blame your enemies of what you're doing yourself, and you get them castigated or killed or whatever you want to say, and then you just walk away, and that's what these people do. But anyway. So tonight we're going to look at this organization, and we're going to realize that what the news says is not true. The news is saying that it's very unorganized and there's no leadership and things like that. That's horse hockey. Of course, there's leadership, and there are job assignments that everybody has in this in that venue, so to speak. But so, by the way, if any of you are praying people, I want to explain something that happened a couple days ago. We like dogs, my wife and I do, and up until like 3 days ago, we had 4. And I know, and you're going, oh, 4 dogs, how do you handle it? Well, they kind of handle themselves. They're very good dogs. I've got no complaints, except for Rocco, who's a little mishuga. But anyway, we had this terrier mix. I think he was terrier and Pomeranian. And boy, did that dog like to scrap. And I just loved him, man, because he took on a pit bull in PetSmart one day. Of course, I had him on a leash and stuff, and I kept him back. I didn't want him to charge the pit bull because he would have. And that would not have been good for the pit bull, I think. But anyway, well, he about a month and a half, 2 months ago, he started getting a cough, and it got worse, and then it turned into a hacking cough, and then it just got progressively worse. But a couple of nights ago, he went home. I don't like that Rainbow Bridge kind of stuff that they talk about, but he expired. He died, and it's been hard on my wife and I, and especially on the grandkids, because Buddy's been alive as long as a lot of the grandkids have been, and so they're getting to experience death and what that's all about, and it's hard on them. It's hard on me too. So anyway, yeah, if you're a praying person, just pray that we have some comfort, and we'll be able to move forward from this point, and without much difficulty. All right. Let's see. Okay, I don't have the right one pulled up. Of course. Of stinking course. Well, why be prepared, Okay, here we go. I'm my own worst critic, folks, so if you ever decide to be my critic, I've got you beat by far. Okay, so the title of the show tonight, I just changed it a few minutes ago actually, is Unmasking Antifa, the Hidden War Against America. And so, first of all, welcome. If you've been here, haven't been here before, welcome. And if you have, well, welcome to you too. And you know me, I'm Dave, and so tonight we're gonna dive into something called Antifa, anti-fascism, or anti-fascist. It's going to take about an hour and a half to 2 hours, like shows have been anymore lately. Hopefully, we'll be blessed and it'll be a lot sooner. But we're going to uncover who Antifa really is, how they operate, who funds them, and how their actions are part of a larger plan to destabilize the United States of America. We'll look at facts, show video evidence, and expose the truth that many in the media try to hide. Buckle up, it's going to be a confrontational but factual look at the threat in the streets. So this is taking place up in Portland, and if you know anything about Portland, their city motto just explains it all to you. Their city motto is "Keep Portland Weird." Okay, well, that doesn't take too much, and they're leftists, so leftists don't like to work. So if they give the city a moniker where the city is already that way, they don't have to try to live up to any expectations of people. Not that they would anyway, but. So, all right. So we're going to look tonight at Portland specifically, because they've been in other cities. Like I said, Memphis, Chicago. They were down in Texas somewhere creating havoc not too long ago. And so that's. But right now we're going to focus on Portland because it's so close to here, and believe it or not, there's actually an office or a setup or a branch office of Antifa right here in Eugene, or I should say north of here in Eugene. And so anyway, they're everywhere, and which is not good for the average American. Okay, these people are bent on destruction, and but hopefully we could change that around and we could be bent on their destruction. Okay, so Portland is a hot spot for Antifa activity. Okay, now, like I said, we're going to look at Antifa's methods, their funding, and their agenda. And hopefully all of us will leave tonight after the show's over knowing more. One of the things I really like about doing this show, folks, is that I get as much out of it as you do. Actually, I probably get more because I have to study to get all this information. Then I have to prepare it so I can give it out to you guys. And so it's, by the time the show's over, I'm pretty well spent. And if the show's, the next one's on Thursday, so that's not too far away. So, but thank God I was smart enough to get everything ready for Thursday. Anyway, Antifa. Okay. So, the first thing you want to know when you're developing an enemies list, or you were going to go to war against something that's evil, there's a lot of things you have to do. You remember the old who, what, when, where, why, and how? Yeah, basically that's what you have to do. But some of those things you have to do with extra strength, so to speak. And those of you who live by the ocean, if you practice warfare and you think about it, and they get a hold of you and throw you in the ocean, sharks aren't a lot of fun. I don't know why the heck I brought that up, but that's one of the reasons I'll swim in a lake, but I won't swim in the ocean. But, okay, so Antifa stands for anti-fascist, but don't let that fool you. Okay, they're a multifaceted evil organization. There should be an award for that, huh? Yeah, I like that, multifaceted evil organization. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's see. It's a militant far left. I mean, far left. It's so far left that if you went any further, you'd be going right. So, it uses violence to suppress political opposition. They operate in decentralized cells, but they share a common ideology. Radical leftism, anarchism, and Marxist principles. Okay, that's their talking point. That's what they are, and they're not here anywhere. They're not here or anywhere to protest. They always get out there with the idea of hurting people and changing people and embarrassing people and doxing people and everything else. So there's everything in this world has a good point and a bad point, except for these folks, because there is no good point. There's no yang for the yin, so to speak. Okay. So why would they focus, let's say, on Portland? Okay, and there's a bunch of reasons why. Okay, but because Portland has become a testing ground for Antifa's tactics. Okay. For years, local leadership has failed to enforce law and order, and boy, isn't that the truth, giving Antifa free rein to attack law enforcement, businesses, and citizens. What happens in Portland often sets the template for other cities, and that's true. Just like California sets trends for fashion and stuff like that. Well, Oregon, but specifically Portland, and even Eugene set trends for strangeness and weirdness. Okay. Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, some of the things you see when you go up to Portland, it's hard to scrub your eyes, when you get back. But and you don't want to keep your eyes closed the whole time you're out there, because you'll get mugged or something. But anyway, but there are other reasons why they're in Portland. They're predators. Okay, they definitely are predators, and most communist militants are, if not all. So being a predator, they're always looking around for weakness. They're looking around for something that's getting ready to die, so to speak. And when we see them in nature, especially around here, if it's one bird or two, it might be eagles. If it's 30 of them, it's vultures. But so we. Sorry, folks. I'm really kind of offbeat today. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to get through this. I promise you. Okay, so yeah, Portland is. When it comes to fidelity, there is none. When it comes to safety, there is none. It's the police have never been good up in Portland ever, and they say that being predators, the Antifa sees us and let's go in there, we'll focus in there, we'll take that place over. Conquer and then leave a few troops there where you've conquered, and then move to the next conquest. So and that's what they're doing right now. Except they're meeting with formidable people that are shooting rubber bullets at them and stuff like that. So it's it remains to be seen what's going to happen. Really, there's only one way to solve this, and that's I hate to say it, but it's like it would be arresting them and trying them, and boy, is that going to be a case for going to the courts. But then when you go to the civil courts or the criminal courts even in the United States, so many have been watered down because of the appointment of judges that are very liberal in their thinking and their beliefs too. So there's, if you're going to commit a crime and you do it in Portland, there's a good chance you're going to get out a week later, maybe a month at the most, and yeah, if you're going to commit a crime, just go up and do it in Portland, okay? Now, I'm not advocating that you go out and do that, okay? I'm just using that as a what if, I'm using it as a letting you know that that place would be very easy to topple over. And just like they did in, I don't know what it is about the West Coast, because remember Seattle about 2 or 3 years ago when Antifa went up there, they took over a whole neighborhood of the city, and turned it into this makeshift fortress that nobody could go down the street and come into their area under threat. And so they did that in Seattle. So finally they got kicked out. But I don't think they got totally kicked out. I think there's still some of their people that are up there, and they're probably just waiting for the next time that they can expel people from Portland or the farther west you go in. What is it? By Portland, as far, because you can go all the way out to the coast there. But anyway, so it's something you got to watch out for. You got to do a clean sweep with people like this. You can't say, oopsie, 2 or 3 of them got away. Oh well, we got 40, and 3 or 4 getting away isn't going to hurt anything. Well, that's a wrong attitude to have, because you could, let's look at a virus. If you get it all and you, that's a bad analogy, but hunger. If you satisfy hunger all the way, then the person's happy. If you don't, then they sit around all day and or after that meal and think of different ways that they can acquire food and different means. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, folks, because we're I don't know about it. I've got like 5 videos to watch, but the first thing I'd like to do, folks, is we have a couple of pictures I want to look at. And these pictures come from a website called ANTIFA Watch. Okay, and now these maps, the first map is going to be of the West Coast, actually it's the whole United States in North America. And the second one is going to be just focusing specifically on like Oregon from Cottage Grove north all the way up to Washington and even a little bit into Canada, just to kind of show you where the where these organizations are. And if you think there are a lot on the West Coast, wait till you see the map of the East Coast. But anyway, I'm talking too much, so let's look at these pictures, okay? All right, let's see. Let's move that out of the way. All right, map number 1, Antifa. All right, here we go. I'm sorry that it's not centered. I don't know what the heck happened. I do know what happened, actually. Because I didn't want to violate any copyright laws, I'm citing where I got the picture, okay? And that citation is up here in the menu bar, okay? And but if you look at the map, or the picture, I should say, you can see that basically, except for a couple of areas here, or I would say in Northern California, the whole region is covered. And if you go into the Midwest, and then you can see that there's other places like Denver. You'd expect it in Denver because they're sanctuary city fodder, and stuff. So anyway, so they like to hang out in big cities and try to ruin everything they can in big cities, and it's kind of flattering because they think Portland is a bigger city. So I don't know what to say about that, but looking on the East Coast, folks, there are so many organizations there you can't even lay down and take a nap. Okay. All right, let's look at this second map now, okay? Sorry, I had a little brain thing going on there. Okay. Now, this is the second map. And like I said, it's like maybe 150 miles in Oregon from California. That's where the bottom line is. And it goes all the way up to British Columbia, who has a symbol up there. But the surprising thing was when I was looking at this, we had grandkids over this weekend, and they wanted to check it out too. Well, I have to be really selective because I don't want them seeing things that they don't need to see. And right now, they're young enough, they don't need to worry about this stuff. When they get older and they're teens and stuff like that, then that's a different story. But for right now, you want to kind of maintain the pureness of your grandkids and your children too, depending on how old you are. But yeah, so you can see right in Eugene down at the bottom in Oregon, you got 2 or 3 of them there, and then yeah, okay, all right. So that takes care of our 2 maps. All right, I could actually get rid of them if I wanted to. Maybe I'll do that because there's a lot of stuff here, and I really don't want to make any mistakes. Let's see, garbage can, and the Antifa map, okay, all right. So now, if you were to ask somebody in Antifa, and I'm just saying this because this makes sense, and I haven't asked anybody from Antifa this, but it just makes sense knowing their cockiness and their the ability to have to lie right in your face without to the point where you don't want to suspect them of anything bad, but usually there is. Usually their explanation is a lie, or some part of it is. So they would say, if you were to ask them, what do you think Trump thinks about this? When it comes to civil war, do you think he wants it? Oh, I don't bet you anything. They would say, oh yeah. He's the reason that we're going through all this because he's clamped down on us and our support. And he just wants to push us far enough to where we just have a full-blown civil war. And man, it's uncanny how I first thought before I asked Trump himself or listened to this sound bit that so okay, here we go. So let's have Trump tell us what he thinks, okay? Because he gets asked this question at a press interview or press release. So okay, let's watch this, and then we'll know that he. Well, you'll see.
You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people rioting. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter. You know it. And the night before, and the night before that.
What do you make of the fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I liked him. You know, I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent.
Huh. Grossly incompetent, coming from one of the most intuitive employers that ever walked the face of the earth. This man's incredible. But so he says it right there. No, I don't want a civil war. And he came in to office basically with the knowledge that for us to know that he wasn't going to seek going to war. As a matter of fact, he was going to seek peace, and he has several different times. Just in the last few months. So, okay. So when you think about, a lot of times when you do comparisons, let's just say they're called anti-fascists. They call themselves anti-fascists, right? But let's just say that you squared them off against fascists. What would you get? You know, I mean, true fascists, not people that they say are fascists. You would get probably one heck of a history lesson. Because you would get things from both sides, of course, but the people in the company of the real Americans would definitely walk all over everybody. So I see, folks, that nobody's chiming in on the chat room in Rumble. So it's there if you want to use it. Okay, it's there. I'll be doing that from now on too. By the way. Maybe 1 week I'll do the one from Tumble, and from Rumble, and then the next week I'll do YouTube, and I'll just kind of spice it up by changing things around from time to time. So, okay, so when you're doing these comparisons and stuff, and you have them saying that that just good Americans are fascists, and that they're all the stuff that they spout out, and it's usually stuff that they're guilty of, and that's what communism does. That's what the left does. They blame the other guy, and then insist that we put something into the safe that would. Sorry, folks. I got all these thoughts going through my head, and I kind of. Now, there's the time slip. The last show, and one before that, we were talking about kind of going from one time to another time, and then having them kind of meet, and then and then back off, and then come back again, to the point where some of the things that you were talking about, you were actually experienced, the week or so before, and but now you're relating them. So it's just really neat how that all works out. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the series that we've been bringing too, because that's been quite a chore. But it's been one again where I learned while I'm putting everything together. So never think that you guys burden me or encumbering me, because you're not. Okay. I'm here for one reason, and that's to bring this stuff to you. And then if people get mad at it, then don't talk to me about it. Talk to Yahweh about it. Okay. So there are people that are comparing Antifa to the SS of Nazi Germany. And I don't want to go into that too much because it comes up down the road here. But so let's watch this video also, and then we can look at some more reading and stuff, and then finally end up after we've examined all the evidence and talked to or heard from all the witnesses. Okay, here we go.
Is Antifa the SS of the left? My name is Stephen, and I'm coming to you with another live stream. I hope it works out. This time I don't have a script, but I have a couple of sheet notes here. We've all seen the recent video or heard about it of the recent attack on the journalist in Portland by Antifa. A lot of people are calling Antifa cowards. I completely disagree. They are not cowards. In fact, I believe they will likely become the most effective troops of the left in the upcoming civil war. Just as the Waffen SS, the German military wing of the SS, became some of the most effective troops in the German army, I believe that the Antifa will become, likewise, some of the most effective troops on the left during any upcoming civil war. Antifa divisions, they're going to be very effective in my opinion. I call them the SS, although maybe since they're communist, KGB troops might be more appropriate, but I'm using SS right here. So not only will Antifa likely become the most effective leftist troops, they're going to become, in my opinion, the most brutal. In fact, I don't believe they're going to be taking any prisoners. You try and surrender, or even perhaps after surrendering, in my opinion, they'll likely kill you, your wife, your kids, even your dog, if you have one. So basically, in my opinion, Antifa is going to become a criminal organization, going to be effective. They're not cowards. They come prepared. I mean, right now they're already escalating. They're putting toxic substances into so-called simple milkshakes. I saw on YouTube that the reporter who was attacked said they even had plastic or something on their gloves, kind of like brass knuckles. A lot of them wear helmets, knee pads, things. I mean, they're coming for battle. So I have another little video lined up, based of the left. Okay.
Wow. The SS, or he changed it because they're communists, but the Russians or the Soviets were not fascists. They were communists. Fascism came from that was weird. Fascism came from Italy and then also Nazi Germany. I think it was Mussolini that first coined the phrase, and he was good at it when he did it too, when it comes to putting names to things. And yeah, the SS. Oh man. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and when we come to it down below, I will talk about it again. But he used the term SS, and if you look at the history of Nazi Germany, before they really came into full power, they had a group called the SA, okay? And that's they also had a nickname for them. They called them the brown shirts, okay? Because that's what they did. They dressed it up in kind of like a darker tan shirt and darker pants and stuff like that. And they would go around and they would bust up businesses that didn't support the Russians. Excuse me, the Germans, and it was quite a scene. But anyway, but what a lot of these people don't realize, and I know Antifa haven't realized it either, because it probably wasn't in some book they were supposed to read, but their effectiveness is being appreciated now by the donors that are giving money. The billionaires that are giving money to Antifa to do what they're doing, and one specific one, we all know, initials GS, but he, what a scoundrel that guy is! My goodness. So in Germany, okay, that's what we were talking about. In Germany, so the SA, they would go and bust up shops of people that disagreed about Nazism and stuff like that. But they wore out their welcome, so to speak, or became ineffective because Hitler wanted to move faster. And while the SA was doing a good job, they weren't going fast enough for him, or they didn't have the right equipment. So there was a time or a day period when they were told to go someplace, the SAs were, because they had a mission. Well, when they showed up, nobody was there. but a whole bunch of SS, which was Hitler's goon squad, so to speak. And he was killed, or excuse me, he was the SS was brought into the fray, and it went to where the after being, I got to back up a little bit. They were lulled into a sense of security. The SA was, and feeling secure, they went to this place, and they were overcome by the SS. As a matter of fact, the day that it happened has a, what's it called? It's the night of the long knives, because that's the night that the SA ceased to exist in any form that can be effective in fighting the SS. But so all these, every regime that has these people working for them, in communism they call people like this useful idiots. Okay, and there's a term in German too that I can't remember, but basically saying the same things, that we'll use these people up until they're used up, and then we'll replace them with something else, something better. The Germans were always striving through eugenics to have something better. They were never happy with what was served up for them. They always wanted a bigger fight, a larger bomber, a faster airplane, fighter, and stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of the story about the SS. So they call them the SS of the left. Might be applicable, but if they are, then Antifa better watch out, because they're in a position that other banks and such have been in, and it hasn't worked out well for them. So, okay, let me go back to our okay, here we go. I found it. Nice. All right. So, let's go into the history now and ideology of Antifa. Let's see. If we were to look, research and see when this whole shebang started, it was the 1930s in Europe, Germany, and Italy, anti-fascist movements. Okay. Boy, I don't know. Back before all the guns were taken from the Germans, they were a formidable force, and it took all the guns away from them, and they were very easy to conquer. Oh, okay. Let's see. So another thing, the spread of the U.S. in the late 1980s and 1990s. This period was kind of known as American imperialism, basically, because we were involved everywhere around the world. We always are, and I for one, am getting really tired of it. But you had a lot of different factions. You had all the Arab things going on, and Arab and Israeli things going on, I should say, in the Middle East, and then stuff in Southeast Asia. From time to time, I won't go there. I have to be really careful, because it's going on. It's going on YouTube, and it's also going on Facebook, and I think that their monitors are more stringent than on Rumble. I can put anything I want on Rumble. Nobody's ever called me on it, but okay, let's see. All right, so their philosophy: a radical anti-capitalism, anarchism, Marxism. Those are basically the three or the four that's three that their foundation is. Okay, and yeah. So okay, let's see. What is their goal? To dismantle government, capitalism, and conservative structures. Whoa, big moth. Sorry. I guess, this is what happens when you do a show outside, so I shouldn't really be surprised. I just hope I don't freak you guys out when I jump like that. Okay. So to dismantle the government, or destroy it, basically, is what they want to do. and they want to replace capitalism and conservative structures with socialism and or communism and highly liberal structures. Okay. So, what drives Antifa? Ideologically, we have to ask, right? Well, Antifa believes violence is a tool to overthrow oppressive systems. Same, it's a. I don't know. I think that's an applicable way of putting it. I really do. They see the U.S. government, capitalism, and traditional values as enemies of their vision. Their ideology justifies attacking anyone who opposes them. Okay, let's see. So how organized is Antifa? We keep hearing about how they're a loose group, a ragtag group of people that have no structure and stuff like that. That's made up, folks. That's something that the press wants you to believe, the mainstream media. But no, these people are. It's amazing how they get along without much, so to speak. So how organized? Let's see. It's decentralized but networked online. Small, autonomous cells act independently but coordinate for larger events. This makes them hard to prosecute but highly effective at spreading chaos. Well, it'd be easier to prosecute if you could put judges in there that'll obey the law and stand for the law instead of getting all that stuff out of the way. Okay. Let's see. This makes them hard to prosecute. That's right. Okay. So let's look at methods and tactics. Examine a few things here. Let's examine the street violence, rioting, vandalism, targeting police and political opponents, and now we can even say United States soldiers. Second bullet point, digital warfare, doxing, online harassment for propaganda campaigns. All right, next bullet, psychological operations, narrative, control, fear. And the last one, I don't see anything else. Okay. All right. So we did street violence, digital warfare, psychological operations, narrative control, and fear intimidation. If you see one spindly little, we used to call them pencil necks, or the little guys that always that were always opinionated and thought they were bigger than they actually were, but they had it so that we feared those kind of guys, and frankly I don't know how they did it, but they ended up doing it, and then now it's taking us. We have to go back and start all over again to fight them in a more conventional means, rather than what we were doing even just a few weeks ago. So that's another thing you do to trip up your enemies. You change your tactics all the time. Okay. Let's see. Mask, black blocks tactics. Okay. Uniforms and masks. So they wear all this stuff to make them. Anybody that comes at you wearing all black, right away you think, okay, these people are no good, because black is in apparel is usually a color of bad intent, and somebody you wouldn't leave your kids or your daughter with. They're just bad people. But so if you see this spindly little guy coming up to you, dressed in regular attire, you don't think anything about it. You're like, oh yeah, isn't that guy kind of cute? I could just kill him with one swipe. But when they dress like that and they carry signs and maybe they're wearing armbands with spears on them and stuff, I don't know. Then you kind of back off. You're like, okay, well this guy might be like a Carl Sagan or something like that. Somebody that'll can secretly kick my rear end without much trouble. So so they wear the masks for anonymity. So black block tactics, uniforms, and masks. Okay. How does Antifa escalate violence? Well, they don't just protest; they plan confrontations. They use Molotov cocktails, fireworks, and targeted tactics to provoke law enforcement and create chaos. Yeah, because if they can make a cop swing a baton at them for what doesn't look like a real good reason, man, that guy's going to lose everything. You know. Who are their typical targets? Police, conservatives, journalists, businesses, and uterologists. Okay. Sorry, I can't pronounce. Okay. Police, conservatives, journalists, businesses, and sometimes innocent bystanders are caught up in the chaos. We saw that just recently. You know, some woman was attacked, and as a matter of fact, that's the whole reason that one thing was on not too long ago. But evil never goes after evil unless they can get a lot of things from them. But evil will always take on good. I mean, try to battle against good, because if they win, they look strong, and if they win, they can also help them in a bad situation, so to speak. Okay. All right. Funding networks. Okay. So let's see. We got three bullet points here. First one: Antifa's funding is mostly indirect. Progressive NGOs, foundations, wealthy donors. Okay. Let's see. Then. Okay. All right. Antifa's funding is mostly indirect. Progressive NGOs, foundations, and wealthy donors, and we know who that is, right? Funds are used for protest equipments, legal defense, training, and propaganda. Oh. Let's see. Hold on a sec. We do have somebody in the chat room. Rumblemania #1. If Trump declares Antifa a terrorist organization, can't the authorities take them out? Yes, I do believe so, Rumblemania. And what I think is going to happen too is that they're going to, instead of going through a civil or even criminal course, they're going to take this into the military under the military code of justice, and that way you'll be able to have a lot quicker trials, and they will be able to dispatch these people from the face of the earth quicker. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. I don't feel lonely anymore. Yeah, folks. One thing I want to tell you is, real quick, is that I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Only about 3 hours, and there is a chance that I might just pop out and in sleep, real quick. And if that happens, then please forgive me, and let's just keep moving on. I don't think that's happened yet, but it's weird, and when it does happen, it's I feel like I'm letting you guys down, and I don't want to feel that way. I just want to be doing what Yahweh wants me to do. Okay. Let's see. Funds are used for protest equipment, legal defense, training, and propaganda. Legal defense, I'm not so sure, because I know that when they have their marches and their whatever they call those things down in the laundry room, that when you walk into the restroom now at the house, the one soldier is dressed like a Marine Corps muscle man. It's funny. Okay, let's see. All right. So yeah, progressive NGOs. Okay, and yeah, they buy, but who knows what else they buy, folks? Well, I'm sure they buy food. So they've got to eat. But things like tofu and those other good things to eat because they're so expensive. That takes a lot of extra money. So who knows? Maybe that's one of the things they're going to try to pull off today too. I kind of hope not, but we'll see. Training. Okay. Some organizations and donors have been linked to leftist causes that align with Antifa's goals. Well, of course, birds of a feather flock together. Of course, they're all they'll be a different venue, but they're all going to be 3 minutes apart in bed. After when getting ready and after a long day of doing this stuff. And so anyway, let's see. So who funds Antifa? Let's see. We can think about this. Direct funding is hard to trace, but research shows connections to large progressive foundations and Hugh. Okay. All right. It's almost like we have. Okay, so yeah, again, when you try to find out who's paying for all this, especially if it's direct funding, it's hard to trace. But research shows connections to large progressive foundations and high net worth individuals. Wonder who that could be. Maybe somebody from Hungary who survived World War II. Okay, anyway. Okay, let's see. Where does the money go? Man, how many times are they going to tell us this? And I already said it, so I'm not even going to read that. Okay. All right. Okay, Antifa as part of a larger agenda. Yes, and this is where I really want to get to, folks, because one way to take over a land is to keep them busy, keep them fearful, of course, but keep them busy in every possible circumstance so that they exit the shower and. I forgot where I was going with that, folks. Please forgive me. So it's, okay. So there's a lot of times, let's take World War II, for instance. On the Allies side, you had the United States, Britain, Australia, Canada, and some governments of other countries like France and that were ousted at the end of a very short period where they were asked to make a decision to either fight or leave, and they made that fight. I'm kind of glad, actually. But let's see. So you want to keep your adversary busy. So and we're going into the whole ally section. So when it comes to Germany and Italy, what you could do is, since you have so many troops from so many different areas, you could take some of your troops, even a very small contingent of them, and send them to one area, and then send some more to the other area, and then combine them with allies from other states. And when you do that, you're spreading yourself thin, of course, but other people are joining in. So, like what we have now, we have the cartels trying to come across the border and give us grief, right? Then we have Antifa and other groups like it in the cities acting strange, so it's not just one thing that our government has to try to fight. No, it's at least 4 things. So. Okay. All right, so aside from keeping us busy on the border and then creating havoc in the cities and maybe attacking some of our bases overseas, which I'm surprised doesn't happen more than it has already, but you get us to spread our forces too thin, and then you can really do a lot of havoc and create a lot of problems. But and it's also done to break the spirit of a warrior class too. If you go out to fight and then you come back and there's no I'm trying to think. Sorry, I can't think of this. But anyway, so another way to fight against us is to take their people and educate them really well and infiltrate them into different areas of modern society. And that way, when things start going bad, you just kind of like push a button and things get worse. But this other thing is the 10 planks of communism, and this is basically what is being done. It's their plan of action, what their total intent is when it comes to destroying the United States of America. So you're going to see here that in the 10 planks of communism, that things are developed to destroy the knowledge of Yahweh in the lives of people, and to villainize our heroes and things like that. It's amazing to kind of observe. It's interesting. All right, so what are the 10 planks of communism? Okay, so number 1 is the abolition of property in land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. Okay, in other words, you don't own your house anymore, and you can't rent it out because you can't rent it out as you wish, but you can rent it out if you do what the government tells you to do. So, in other words, it's saying that there's no land, no private land ownership, and all land belongs to the state or community. Okay. Number 2, second plank. A very heavy progressive and graduated income tax. The more you earn, the higher percentage you pay in taxes. Well, boy, I think we've all lived through that, haven't we? Let's see. Number 3, the abolition of all rights of inheritance. one of the things that makes our country great is that when our people would go on to be when they called back to be with their fathers, in the afterlife, and they leave behind. Well, a lot of times they leave behind knowledge, but even more times they leave behind a little bit of cash here, some money there, and everything else, and we really haven't, in our modern day and age with communism booming, I'm surprised that we haven't seen more. So, but maybe tomorrow it'll be a different show. Anyway, let's see. All right, number 4, confiscation of the property of all immigrants and the rebels. Okay. All right. Okay. No inheritance. Confiscation of the property of all immigrants and rebels. Well, all empires have done that. The Romans did it exclusively. If somebody opposes the state or leaves the country, their property is seized. And it's a good way to get people to come back, and then you arrest them, and they cease to be. Let's see, number 5, centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. Okay. Yeah, of course, the centralized banks are the ones that print all the money that's worthless, and then they're the ones that receive all the real money from the government for the manufacture of the bad money. It's quite a racket they have, actually. It's if it wasn't so evil, it would be something that would normally make us laugh, but it's not good. Okay. All right, let's see. Centralization of credit in the hands of the state. Okay. I'm comparing stuff, folks, in my head, so if there's a little bit of silence, that's that. Okay. All right, that's the credit. Okay, number 6. Well, the addendum to number 5, the government controls all banking and money creation. As opposed to the United States, where it's a private organization that does it. called the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay, number 6, centralization of all means of communication and transport in the hands of the state. Well, we talk all the time about mainstream media. That's communications. That's propaganda. The way you have it set up now. So, you know, if you control all the information that's coming in, and then all the information that's being disseminated, then real life people don't stand a chance. Okay, it says the government runs all media, postal systems, railroads, highways, and airlines. Okay. Number 7, extension of factories and instruments of production, wastelands. Okay, let's see. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go through 7 again. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state, the bringing of into cultivation of wastelands, and the improvement. Okay, let's see. Number 8, equal liability of all to labor. In other words, nobody's going to welch. Everybody's going to get a job, no matter what it is. And if you don't like it, tough, you're still going to do it anyway, right? Okay. Number 9, a combination of agriculture and manufacturing and industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and county or country by a more equitable distribution of population. Okay. All right. Overlaps. Let's see what time we got here. Okay, we got a little over an hour. Okay. Okay, overlaps with other left-wing organizations and movements. That's what they do. They're always seen at Black Lives Matter's protests, and many times labor unions will even send their people to either Black Lives Matter or Antifa, and until they get arrested, and then a whole bunch of stuff comes up. Let's see, effect on elections, social cohesion, and public display. Okay. Yeah, as I said, they always seem to show up at each other's rallies. They have effects on elections, social cohesion, and public perception. I'll tell you what, if you go to a place to vote and you see a bunch of thugs standing out there with clubs in their hands, you're not going to go in there, and that can sway a lot of votes. And does. It's happened before. So what happens is this turns into perpetual insurgency, so to speak. So let's say that in our wildest imagination that Antifa goes to battle with the government and they win. Of course, the left-wing organizations that help to obtain power will want to cut out of the pie too. So if Antifa did win, or if they did win, it wouldn't be too long before other groups like Black Lives Matter or the labor unions, or pick your cause, would demand to be co-regents, or okay, well, we helped you, so we deserve to have a little bit of recognition. That's what they would say. But the odds are that Antifa, when and if this happens, would not tolerate that, and then you'd have a war between Antifa and its sister organizations. Okay, so it's a beast that really can't be killed. So let's see. Is Antifa working with other organizations? Well, yes, they are. They often coordinate with other radical infested. Okay. So let's see. Yeah, let's see. Okay. So what is their ultimate goal? Okay, the ultimate goal is to weaken America's institutions, destabilize society, and to push the country towards socialist or anarchist policies. Now, I chimed in here. Actually, the correct term for Antifa is probably Marxist. What often happens in cases like this is akin to what happened to the brown shirts in Nazi Jersey, so I don't need to read this. We already told that story, all right? Okay. Okay. All right, let's look at a couple more videos, if we may. Let's see. Some of these questions are really good. Now, I'm going to keep going on this, and then we'll look at some more videos, okay? So let's do an analysis and expert commentaries and see what we can do here. Okay. Questions to address. Okay. Sorry, folks. I got to... Jeez. There are some things flying around here, folks, that I don't even have names. Okay. So how does Antifa choose targets in cities like Portland? Answer, they pick symbolic targets, police precincts, conservative businesses, conservative business districts, or government buildings. It's designed for maximum chaos and media attention. Yeah, of course. Oh, man. All one of those little guys has to do is break a thumbnail, and then, oh yeah, well, the police were brutal last night. You know, it's really stupid. But anyway, in the animal kingdom, the stronger always look to overcome the weak. While the sanctuary cities that fall victim to Antifa, excuse me, folks, okay, there is a morbid weakness in that they're compromised where morals and ethics are concerned. They've been turned over to a strong delusion, which the scripture says would happen. Let's see, the Bible promises that it would come to those who reject Yahweh and who promote sickness. Let's see, I guess, let's see, promote wickedness, excuse me. I guess that I just described Democrats. Scriptures says about such people. Okay. Oh, let's see here. I'll do that, Rumblemania. He says, take care of yourself and get some sleep. I will make a pledge to you, Rumblemania, that tonight and every night from now on I will go to bed at a decent hour. It's just with the dog dying and everything the other day. It was very difficult. Let's see. There is a scripture that says, it's in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. It says, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Okay? And where do we see? I mean, the whole Democratic Party does that. You know, you look at them in their sitting in their chairs in Congress and stuff, pointing at Trump, accusing him of doing things that they themselves have done many times over the years, right? Let's see. So we got to ask the question: what can law enforcement do? Well, I don't know. In Portland, they don't do very much at all. Even if they could do it, they wouldn't. Let's see. To answer, let's see. Antifa is difficult to prosecute due to decentralized cells, but coordinated intelligence, legal accountability, and public awareness can reduce their impact. In other words, in other situations, excuse me, this would be true, but hundreds of them who countermand any semblance of justice. The only way to rid ourselves of these leftists is illustrated just below. Okay, so here in the United States, the only way to prosecute these insurrectionists is to have a JAG investigative entity arrest them under military guidelines and as enemy combatants. Trump has taken a big step by referring to them as domestic terrorists. Yeah, that was really wise. I'm glad he did that. How can citizens protect themselves? Well, avoid high risk assessed areas during let's see. Avoid high risk areas during protests. Document harassment and report threats to authorities. Public vigilance and awareness are key. As we've seen in Portland, the city government is corrupt, and the police choose to answer to the city fathers rather than to administer protection under the law. So calling the authorities when confronted by Antifa is the best. If a person takes classes and obtains a permit to carry a sidearm or firearm, and you use it if necessary, but it's only if necessary, okay? Because believe me, I have a couple of carry permits, and at first you get this feeling of, ooh, you know, it's like, okay, sucker. Okay. 8:20. Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't have one of those. Okay. Well, let's look at some more videos. Okay. And I really mean it, Rumblemania. I am going to get some really good sleep tonight. All right. Let's go to our video section. And, all right. This Civil War. Okay, so we got 3 more videos to watch. The last one is, let's see. There's one with Glenn Beck. And it's really good because he explains a lot of things financially and everything else. So let's see. This is Civil War, former ANTIFA insider. Okay. All right. So let's watch this one first. I don't think we've seen it. If we have, I'll skip it and go to the next one.
As we have seen over the last number of weeks since Charlie Kirk's assassination, thousands of people have been online calling for a civil war. But the news is, we are already in a civil war. We're just in a modern-day civil war. This civil war can manifest in various forms and can be influenced by numerous factors, including political, social, even economic conditions. So here are some characteristics that you might observe. We already have a political fragmentation. That's obviously when the conflicts often arise from deep divisions in the ideologies, leading to multiple factions or groups that are simply vying for power. And these factions may include established political parties, even insurgents groups or regional movements. You have urban warfare, cyber warfare. We have the information warfare. This includes your propaganda, all the misinformation that's on social media, and control of digital platforms. All of these are critical tools. And as we also seen in the past number of weeks, there's also the global involvement. Modern civil wars, they're fueled by historical grievances, ethnic rivalries, or religious sectarianism, which just makes resolution that much more complex. Oftentimes we hear both parties throw around the word fascism. Fascism, which originated in the early 20th century Europe, we're all aware of this. Mussolini, he's the one who coined the term in the 1920s. The word fascism comes from the Latin fasces, or a bundle of rods, symbolizing strength through unity. And fascist movements emerged in response to the economic and social turmoil following World War I, which was probably needed at the time. But here are some key characteristics of fascism. Number one, you need some type of authoritarian leadership, some leadership. Fascism is typically led by a single leader, or maybe even a small group that holds their perceived absolute power, often suppressing dissent and political opposition. George Soros looks pretty familiar. Oh, and remember that bundle of rods we were talking about earlier? Your Antifa emblem is marked with these bundle of rods. And your Antifa soldiers taken to the streets, brandishing such symbology and brandishing their rod-like weapons, bats, batons. It's also characterized by extreme nationalism. Well, an argument can be made that fascists do promote a strong sense of maybe national pride and unity. I mean, really, who doesn't want to take pride in the USA? But the way that this country is now, that pride and unity might just be somewhat faltering. I think it's faltering at the expense of individual rights and freedoms. And fascists do tend to view the nation or their group as superior to the individual. You have militarism, believing that war is a means to achieve national greatness. And there's suppression of dissent. Fascism involves the use of violence and intimidation to silence opposition. But currently, we are in a divided nation. Two or more political groups face off in a battle for influence and control. One group, known as the left, they operate like players engaged in a simple game of checkers. They're very direct, at times impulsive, focusing on quick wins and populist strategies. They skip the pieces and quickly exclaim, king me before they run back home. Their tactics involve rallying crowds with fiery speeches, making promises of instant reforms, leveraging social media to create viral moments. Each move they make is tactical yet reactive, aiming to capture the most immediate victories, often overlooking the larger implications of their choices. And their leaders thrived on sensationalism, using sound bites to energize their base without considering long-term strategies. Now, conversely, the right, or the Republicans, conservatives, they strategically play a complex game of chess, recognizing the nuances of political maneuvering. They approach political landscapes with foresight, caution, analyzing the positions of their opponents with each move, while the far left revel in the spotlight. The conservatives focus on building alliances and developing a comprehensive policy framework. They play the long game, anticipating the leftists' moves, countering with counter-narratives and investing in grassroots initiatives that cultivate loyalty over time. Groups like Antifa, they push aggressively, trying to outpace their opposition with populist rhetoric. However, the Republicans, they appear to remain calm, analyzing each rash move made by Antifa. But the problem here is that both sides are playing two different games. And maybe it's about time that the conservatives throw away the rule book of chess and meet the leftists on their own ground. We're all thinking it. We are all thinking it. It's just a matter of doing. Someone's going to do it. This is your open conflict, or the war phase. This is often what people fantasize civil war looking like. This stage marks the full-scale onset of civil war. Armed factions engage in organized warfare against each other, and maybe even against the state. Battles are fought, territories are contested, casualties will rise. In later stages, we may look for stalemates, maybe negotiation or peace, maybe some post-conflict reconstruction. But for a reconstruction to occur, that means the demolishment of the current system. So understanding these stages can help observers, policymakers, communities recognize patterns in civil conflicts and the importance of addressing underlying issues to prevent or resolve them effectively.
One of the things that I saw in that video just really resounded with me is that as conservatives, many of us, if not all of us, tend to overanalyze things when these things happen. We tend to examine to see what we can do, and that's a good thing. Okay, that's not a bad thing. But at the same time, well, picture two boxers in a boxing ring, okay? And the one is the one in the blue shorts is the leftist, and the one in the red shorts is the conservative, okay? So the guy with the red shorts comes out, the blue shorts comes out, excuse me, and he's pumped, he's ready, man. He's gonna knock this guy out cold in the first round. So he comes in and he starts wailing on the other guy. So the conservatives trying to take time to see, well, he just threw a right hook. Is he going to throw a stab now, or is he going to, and we tend to do that so much that we lose so much. And so what we really need to do is to throw away the rule book, like you said, and maybe start using some of the tactics they use. I mean, I'm not talking about doing anything that's going to make you look unholy or be unholy. I'm just talking about, not overanalyzing stuff while your enemy's beating the tar out of you. And that's one of the things I like about Trump, because up until this time, whenever we've had a Republican in office, it seems like, my goodness, they become overwhelmed. They don't know how to handle it, and they become ineffective leaders. But yeah, it really resounds with me. You know, it's just don't think about what the guy might do next. Just know what you're going to do and go do it. You know, I think that's a very good analogy. So, okay, let's see, anything else over here? Nope. What do we got here? Okay, nothing. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the next one. Now, this next one is a very short. As a matter of fact, it's one of the shorts, and it's a former member of Antifa explaining why they do what they do and how they do it. Okay, like I said, it's a very short video, so it won't be on for very long. But and then we just got one to go, and then we're going to call it a night. Okay, so let's go here.
He is talking to a former Antifa member. Okay, listen to this very closely.
You may have been a drifter, but can you clarify this for us? As somebody who was in Antifa, is it a actual organization?
100,000%. Don't let anybody fool you otherwise.
And they have like a hierarchy and a leadership structure? What is that like?
Well, the way I classify the two classes of Antifa, at least street level, you have the devotees and you have the wannabes. The devotees are people like me, people who are really in it for the Civil War aspect. We knew damn well we were playing in Civil War territory. We wanted to fight. We wanted to take out our political enemies. We wanted to take out all our rage. We were willing to do what the little trans kids on the college campus wouldn't, right? They're the wannabes, the furries, the one coming out in the dinosaur suits, you know, all of which is made to make it look light and fluffy, while people like me were behind the scenes. I would walk around with a machete half the size of my leg. I called it my self-defense machete. It's pathetic. But so the devotees kind of use the wannabe class as human shield. So a lot of the time the wannabes would get taken out first because they want to be virtuous. They want to be there with their cameras at the front, and then holy shit, here come the rubber bullets.
Don't it seem like we always have stuff like that happens? You always got the showman, and then you got the workers. You know, you got the ones that are there for the cause, and the other ones that are just there for recognition, to maybe put in their portfolio that they were at such and such a melee that happened, you know, last week, last year, or whatever. You know, just make it look good on their resume. That's what I'm looking for. But it's crazy, it really is. All right, so let's go ahead and so let's Antifa's intel briefing, okay? And I believe this is the one with Glenn Beck in it, and it's what I like about Glenn Beck is he writes things out, and that makes it easier to understand, of course. But and he sits there and explains it. Sometimes so much so that you get, okay, we get it, and we'll move on. But that's good for the people that are slower and just can't absorb things right away, you know. So I'm not going to rail on him anymore for sometimes repeating things 2 or 3 times. But there's probably that one person out there that needs to hear things 2 or 3 times. Okay, here we go. The last video of our time together today, anyway. Okay. Maybe not.
Hello, folks. I am the old sergeant. This briefing will cover ANTIFA's field operations and tactics. Asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare is war between belligerents whose relative military power differs significantly, or whose strategy or tactics differ significantly. This is typically a war between a standing professional army and an insurgency or resistance movement militias who often have status of unlawful combatants. Definition from Wikipedia. Currently, the violent contact is between Antifa and the police, patriot groups, or even solitary individuals. Black bloc. Black bloc is a tactic where Antifa insurgents dress entirely in black and cover their faces with black masks or scarves so as to make it nearly impossible for victims, witnesses, or law enforcement personnel to identify any particular individual who has committed an act of vandalism, arson, theft, or assault. The masks allow the activists to become anonymous and thus able to move more freely and do what they want to do, whether it is illegal or not. Stoplight method. A key tactic employed by Antifa rioters is known as the stoplight method, where the insurgents are assigned different color designations: red, yellow, and green. The colors represent the types of activities in which they are prepared to engage. Reds. Reds are those people who are willing to break the law and risk arrest. These terrorists keep their faces covered and eventually break away from the mob and start shattering windows, looting, attacking cars, and committing violence against people. Reds are cheered and treated as heroes by the rest of the mob. Yellows. Yellows are not willing to engage in violence or illegality, but they keep the criminal Reds hid in their midst and thereby avoid apprehension by the police. They will pull the criminals that are being arrested away from the police and hide them in the mob. Greens. Greens are not involved in any tactical planning or risky behavior. They provide foot soldiers among whom red lawbreakers can hide. Rioters and the so-called peaceful protesters have a symbiotic relationship. The rioters attack people and destroy things, then melt back into the crowd that quickly and purposely closes behind them. Swarming. Swarming is often encountered in asymmetric warfare where opposing forces are not of the same size or capacity. An individual being attacked by the insurgents will be surrounded and overwhelmed by brutal physical attacks. The yellow and green insurgents swarm around the reds to hide the attackers and prevent identification. Swarming is used to hide other illegal activities. Deplatforming. Antifa actively deprives conservatives of a speaking platform by drowning them out with blowhorns, air horns, and group chants, or shutting down their events with human walls that block anyone from attending. According to Antifa member Scott Crow, the idea in Antifa is that we go where they, conservatives, go. That hate speech is not free speech. That if you are endangering people with what you say and the actions that are behind them, then you do not have the right to do that. And so we go to cause conflict, to shut them down where they are, because we don't believe that Nazis or fascists of any stripe should have a mouthpiece. Doxing. Doxing is the internet-based practice of researching and publicly broadcasting private or identifying information about an individual or organization. The methods employed to acquire this information include searching publicly available databases and social media websites, hacking, and social engineering. This is done to organize attacks on people, their homes, or to try to get people fired from their place of employment by making outrageous claims about the person's character or actions. I am the old sergeant. Stay informed, prepared, active, prayerful, and as always, stay vigilant.
Good advice, staying vigilant. Very good advice. There we go. Yes, vigilant means keeping your eyes open. I mean, coming from the guy that tried to take a couple of cat naps during the show tonight, right? But seriously, it means keeping your eyes open that you can see what's coming. See what's coming, see who's coming, and then at the same time, while you're doing those two things, making a plan. Okay, that's called active warfare. Okay, and it's a good plan, a good way to do things too. It's never estimate that just because you can't see people coming at you, that there are no people coming at you. It could happen in the corner of your eye or the other eye, and it just yeah. Okay, let's see. So anyway, I don't know. Folks, I've kind of apologized because I think that this show could have been a lot better than it was. I know that I'm my own worst critic, and I am the maybe it's good that I'm my own worst critic, but because it causes you to want to make the next show even better and better, and you don't fall into ruts like many times you do when you're dealing with the animal kingdom. So I just hope and pray that that if you needed to understand something, that you got it here tonight. And what I'm going to do in the future, I'm going to take all the transcripts, all the notes that I made for these shows, and I'm going to post them on. I've got a little side gig to Rumble where you can do that. And right now I can't remember the name of it, but when can I remember anything? I don't know. But so yeah, and I'll post it there. That way, if there's some information that you wanted to get off of it, you could have it and just take it, use it for free. Okay, well, folks, the garbage still continues up in Portland, and not that it was going to end during a 2-hour show, right? But it's a sad day to watch that, because it was a beautiful city, but now it's now when you mention the name Nicola, we have to we just have to buckle down. There's lots of things coming down the pike that are going to be very. It's going to be very important that we're astute and that we know how to handle things, and you want to know how to handle them. It's all in I don't know where I put the book. It's all in the Sefer. It's all in the Bible. If you can't find help there, then you're beyond help. Just kidding. If you can't find help there, then you can always pray and ask Yahweh to teach you what you need to know. I love it when He does that, because it actually means to me that I'm special to Him, and that I'm not just one of the crowd, although I am. So anyway, that having been said, if you want to come back on Thursday, I hope you do. I'll be refreshed and rested. And we will be talking about this 3-eye atlas that is playing games with us in our solar system. And okay. All right, folks. Well, I'm gonna say the benediction, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. And look forward to Thursday. You know what? I just hit me, folks. I'm beating myself up about, but at the same time, just 3 or 4 days ago, I was under anesthesia, so I probably still have a little bit of that in my body, and that would explain a lot. So perhaps the next time I have to go through a procedure like that, I'll wait a week before I come on the air. But I hate doing that. I just love doing this so much. So, all right. Let's see. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. May He make His face to rise upon you and be gracious unto you. May He watch your going out and your coming in, your rising up and your lying down. May He give you the peace that passes all understanding. And may you have that today. May you just walk in His ways and in His light, and glorify Him so that He can glorify you. In Yeshua's name, amen and amen. All right, folks, it's time to go bye-bye. So, be blessed, and bear with me while I shut all this stuff down, because it's a chore. Okay, bye, y'all.